Hello. So today I want to discuss about a topic that it created me some curiosity, and the fact is we are talking so much about more and more about the fact that hostile nations, at least to the Western countries, they should not receive technologies. But the thing is, how this is happening? Is it really possible not using chips that are coming from Taiwan, or clouds which are not coming from US? What are the options? What are the solutions? How we can also get more autonomous and independent as a European Union? So before getting into these questions, I would like to start with some observations. And the first one is about the fact that today the war is and the battlefield are not looking like the one that we are imagining. There are still soldiers and tanks, but most of the real fighting, in fact, is happening inside networks, data center, and the airwaves above them. War has become digital, and it's running on the same technologies that keep our businesses, our cities, and even our homes connected, right? VMware clusters instead of trenches, Starlink dishes instead of radios, drones instead of platoons. So from Ukraine to Gaza, from the Taiwan Strait to Washington, the way nations are fighting now depends on who controls the data, the signal, and the algorithm. So what I would like to do before getting into more geopolitical topics is to give you also a description of what I could find about the technologies which have been deployed. And let's start with the drones. So it was 2014, it was in Donbass, and there was a drone carrying a camera and a grenade. That was the beginning. But now fast forward to 2025, and Ukrainian skies are now crowded with swarms of FPV drones, some built with 3D printed shells over assembled, others that are instead assembled in converted garage. These drones run on open source hardware like NVIDIA Jetson boards, and they are connected through Starlink uplinks. They're beaming live video into underground command posts that now look more like server rooms than bunkers. When the Russian jammers attack the signal to avoid that, the drones are able to capture it, Ukrainian technologists are rewriting the routing scripts, are switching frequencies, or guide drones with fiber optic spools that cannot be jammed. A few months ago, one of these ground robots, and this is really interesting, just rolled toward a Russian trench near Kharkiv and broadcasted through the speaker the following message: "Surrender or we will detonate." The soldier did, and the robot didn't have to explode. That moment captured something new, not just remote control, but psychological control through machines. China and the US watch it carefully and are watching carefully on what is going on. Beijing is building drone swarms that communicate like neural networks, thousands of small cheap UAVs guided by the Beidou satellites instead of GPS. Washington's answer is the Project Replicator, with its own effort to flood the sky with autonomous aircraft that learn as they fly. It's called the DoD Replicator program from 2024. In this new aerial ecosystem, who mans the air isn't the one with the biggest jet, it's the one with the best algorithm. So that's definitely an area of interest of what is going on. But now let's look into the cyber. In fact, below those drones, another war is humming silently into the radio spectrum. Every military network is now a target. Every radar, GPS signal, or command line are a potential weapon. Russia is flooding the airwaves over the Eastern Europe with jamming signals that confuse aircraft and knock out satellite navigation. Civilian flights over the Baltic have been forced to switch to manual procedures more than once. This was reported very recently. The US and its allies answer in kind using the zero trust architectures on military clouds, Palo Alto firewalls, CrowdStrike EDR, and live telemetry from Splunk CM to monitor every endpoint in their global networks. Israel, and that was interesting, is a long pioneer of digital combat, and they showed the world what cyber war could look like years ago with the Stuxnet, the worm that made an Iranian centrifuge spin themselves to destruction. That was the first time that code was causing the physical sabotage without even a single missile being fired. So today, the boundary between cyber and kinetic war is gone. A power grid hack can ground planes. A radius proof can mislead troops. In war, silence is not peace. It's just the calm between network guns. And now, as we're talking about algorithms, we need to think also on the fact that AI is starting also to choose targets, because artificial intelligence has become the most controversial soldier of all. In the US, the project Maven uses machine learning to analyze drone footages, and it detects patterns faster than human analysis ever could. A single model now processes what once took hundreds of people. The DoD Maven overview. This is from 2023. In Israel, during the Gaza war, reports surfaced of system nicknamed Lavender or Where is Daddy? And these algorithms, they were cross-referencing databases and phone data to identify potential militant targets. Their accuracy was chillingly high, but not perfect. And this is of course raising the question about the accountability when a machine's prediction becomes a death sentence, right? Can this really be? So Ukraine uses AI differently, not for targeting, but for survival. Neural networks filter drone imagery to spot enemy armor hiding under camouflage. AI chatbots analyze intercepted Russian radio chatter in real time to detect new tactics. China integrates AI across everything: logistics, surveillance, and even propaganda. The PLA's Intelligent Ties Warfare doctrine from China sees AI not as a tool, but as the battlefield itself, where human decision-making is augmented and sometimes even replaced by these data models. The hard question here remains, because when AI begins making life and death recommendation at machine speed, how long can humans stay in control, right? And now let's look into the digital infrastructure which is behind all these, because every digital weapon rests on something which is physical. Racks of servers, fiber cables, diesel generator. In a Ukrainian command center, you might find a VMware cluster running on Dell PowerEdge machines, and it could be mirrored to a European cloud through encrypted VPN tunnels. If the base is hit, the workload fails over automatically. So the US military's version is far larger. The Joint Warfighting Cloud Capability, which is the JWCC, is linking AWS GovCloud, Azure Government, and Google Cloud platforms under the JCADC2 strategy, which is a kind of internet war. China cut it off from many Western suppliers. building sovereign infrastructure with the Huawei cloud and homegrown chips. Russia instead is hit by sanctions, as we know, and is running open source stacks, KVM, Ceph, PostgreSQL, because commercial licenses are now political weapons. That's the interesting part that we were mentioning at the beginning. Yet, all sides share a dependency that they cannot escape: the global supply chain. Teardowns of Russian missiles still revere Western chips. US and Israeli systems still depend on the Taiwanese fabs. So it is a paradox, in fact, that everyone wants independence, but everyone runs on the same silicon. So what's left is an uncomfortable truth. Wars are now systems versus systems. Not ideologies, not armies, architectures. Ukraine wins skirmishes by improvising faster. It's DevOps-style warfare, where soldiers and software engineers share the same tents. China is preparing for endurance, mass-producing autonomous systems faster than anyone. Israel experiments at the cutting edge of AI and cyber, and the United States builds scale and networks so vast it can be jammed, only delayed. Every nation today has its own strength, but all are discovering the same law. Whoever controls compute, bandwidth and data controls the world. So maybe the future of conflicts is not about who fires first, but who reboots first. Wars will begin with data leaks, denial of service attacks, and firmware exploits before the first missile ever leaves the rail. The front line today isn't a border anymore, it is a data center. Uptime is the new victory. And somewhere, in a bunker full of humming servers and flickering screens, the new war is already compiling. Thank you very much for joining me on this new podcast. I hope you found it interesting, and I look forward to have you on my channel for new queries on today's world and how geopolitics and technologies are shaping our world today. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye-bye.